My life was perfect. I grew up in a very small community in central Utah. 3 brothers, 3 sisters. I woke up every day. I looked out at the magnificent mountains and the wide open spaces, and I knew in my soul that life was full of infinite possibilities. My dad was a high school basketball coach. I was being primed by my dad to be this exceptional athlete. I grew to be about 5 foot 10 inches tall. I was 15 years old. My best friends were Roger and Phil and Doug. We'd listen to the Beatles, chase girls, play sports. We were all looking forward to getting our driver's licenses. And on this particular Friday, my best friends, it happened to be Veterans Day, they were waiting for me at Lake Ridge Junior High School. The entire school and community, they were all excited about the championship football game the next morning. So I fixed my little sister Julie's flat bike tire. I ran down the street, crossed the road, jumped up the curb, dashed to the grass, bounced up onto the cement porch, and I started banging on the old screen door. Tori, another friend and teammate, said, "Mike, come on in." So I opened the door. I walked towards my friend's voice. I found him in his mom and dad's bedroom. Nobody was home. I plopped down on the white bedspread. I was facing this very direction. Tori walked towards me holding a gun in a brown leather case. "Mike, I like to play around with this gun when my mom and dad aren't home. This is my dad's off-duty police gun. I know where he hides it when he goes to work." I was curious. I listened. Tori took the gun out of the brown leather case, flipped the cylinder that holds the bullets out to the side, and he started shaking the gun. I watched 4 little silver bullets fall right next to me on the white bedspread. I could have reached out and picked them up. I started doing math in my head. I got to 4. I wondered, how many bullets does that gun hold anyway? I should have said something. This was an accident. Tori thought he had an empty gun 3 feet away, pulled it up to his hip, pointed it at my chest. Bang! I remember that day. The bullet hit my chest, punctured my right lung, missed my heart, hit my spine, slammed me back onto that white bedspread. I passed out. Tori freaked out. I was regaining my consciousness. I was trying to breathe. I thought, this can't be real. But my friends here today, these things are real, aren't they? Death, divorce, failure. And as I tried to take another breath, I thought, this is real. I've really been shot. My legs won't respond. My friend's freaking out. I started promising God, if I can live, I'll change. I'll be a better person. I will help as many people in this world as I can. I just want to live. I passed out again. The next thing I remember, Tori was hovered over me, had a hold of Mike, you're faking it, you're faking it. I pulled up my shirt, showed him the hole in my chest. He ran back over to the blue phone that was on the wall that I had desperately wanted to get to, but I was glued to that white bedspread. He called my home telephone number. My incredible mother answered. "Mrs. Schlappi, come quick. Mike's been hurt." Threw the phone in the corner, ran back in the kitchen. The next 2 minutes were the longest of my life, but I hung in there. Why? I had hope that my mom would show up. You know what? I have a gut feeling there's a couple moms in this audience. I want you to know you matter. You make a difference. When my mom walked in that bedroom, you do. Thank you. My mom walked over to me, touched my hand, touched my face, ran her fingers through my hair. I believe my mom saved my life. She ran back over to that same blue phone, called 911. Can you imagine how my friend's dad felt? He's cruising the neighborhood in his police car. It came across his radio, there had been a shooting at his address. Ambulances show up, they rush me to the hospital. The body is an amazing creation, isn't it? It is. You know what saved me? Besides my mom, my friend, the doctors and nurses, my heart was on in beat. That very split second, the bullet sped by. I spent 8 days in intensive care. That bullet was lodged in my spine, tubes in my nose and into my lungs, all kind of pain, in and out of consciousness. My girlfriend dumped me 3 days later. It's all right, I found a new one, but hi. Local newspaper said, boy shoots himself. Father leaves loaded revolver on nightstand. Star athlete, student body president clinging to life. Tori was obviously scared. I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you there were times I wanted to just reach over there and pull the plug out of the wall and end it all. Why didn't I? Good people like you were there for me. My friends would pack the elevators. My mom and dad would sleep at the hospital. Tori showed up. Just he and I, intensive care, sat next to me. We looked at each other. We both started crying. He handed me a book. I opened it up. On the inside left cover, it said, "Mike, I will never forgive myself, but I hope someday you will." I recognized right then this didn't just happen to me. We were all in. This was all about everybody, and I was just the central figure, but I was going to move forward. I got myself positioned properly. My grandma Schlappi. My nickname as a little kid was Happy Schlappi. My wife, who's here with us today, she calls me Crappy Schlappi. But I couldn't find much to smile about. And my grandma Schlappi brought me a cherry Slurpee from 7-Eleven. I drank half of it, put the remainder on the nightstand by the hospital bed, went to sleep. 9 o'clock at night. The nurse came in, checked my blood pressure, stuck a thermometer in my mouth, left the room. I got this great idea. I was 15 years old. What do you think I did? Took the thermometer out of my mouth, stuck it in the last half of that cherry Slurpee. It sat there for 20 minutes. I heard the nurse coming back down the hallway. Just before she came in the hospital room, I took the thermometer out of the Slurpee, put it in my mouth, acted like I hadn't moved. She walked over to the side of the hospital bed, leaned over, pulled this thermometer out. She looked at it and got all nervous and hysterical. Why? This little thing that doesn't lie said I was 30 degrees ago. And I got in trouble. But I laughed for the first time in a week, and that meant everything to me. I had to learn to love myself from the inside out, not just the outside in. Thank you. I watched my legs atrophy. I watched him get skinnier and skinnier every day. I promised myself I'd never let my thoughts, my dreams, my future atrophy. You know what the average person in this room has every day? 11 negative thoughts to every one positive thought. I was probably twice that at that point. The average person in this room spends 45 to 50 minutes a day looking good for the world on the outside. Well, Rich and some of us a little bit less. But on average, that's what we spend every day. You know what? I spent 5 months in the hospital. I got a lot of incredible therapy. The greatest therapy I received, I gave to myself. And you can do the same. I called it attitude therapy. I gave myself heavy doses of attitude therapy. I'm not here, by the way, to make anybody feel guilty. It is absolutely okay to have a bad day once in a while, isn't it? Yeah, but I have a challenge for everybody here. Don't let those bad days turn into bad weeks and bad months. That's when you hang your head, you think you don't matter, you think you're no good. Everybody in here's a good person just because you're alive. I spent 5 months in rehab, and I had to work hard to stop from going rock bottom. I would touch the bullet that was still in my back, and I'd think about all the things I'd lost. I wondered if girls would ever like me again. Now I live in Utah, 5 great kids, Utah, a couple wives. I would work up a sweat trying to make my big toe flinch. I wondered if I could ever get a job. Would you hire me? See, that's why I had to go into motivational speaking. Which, by the way, was ranked as the 6th most overpaid profession. One right after master coordinators. Right. But I laid there, and I just thought, and I wondered, and my 9th grade teacher, Mr. Paul Gordine, he brought my homework to the rehabilitation center. I got straight A's that quarter of that semester that I was shot. I began to understand the power of the mind and the spirit versus just the power of the physical body. But this was a team effort. We were all in, and my 11-year-old sister, Julie, she literally became my private nurse. And I went home, and my dad, he provided that kick in the butt that I needed when I kind of wanted to just sit around and take advantage of this wheelchair. My mom, she'd be in the kitchen making pancakes, and I'd roll in there every morning in my brand new wheelchair, and we'd talk, and she'd cry. And one day she looked at me and she said, Mike, just because you can't stand up doesn't mean you can't stand out. It became my life motto. Thank you. I went in the backyard, grabbed a basketball, shot it up at the 10-foot basket. It fell 5 feet short. My dad knew I was bummed out. He came over and he said, Mike, you can still be a great athlete. You're just going to have to do it a little differently. I found out they had wheelchair basketball in the Olympic Games. I set a goal when I was 16 years old to be the first wheelchair basketball player to represent our great country over the course of 20 years, 4 games. I set this goal, and in life, if you don't know where you're going, you won't know how to get there. So I sit here in front of you as a person. I used to be able to do 10,000 things. Now I can only do 9,900. I can't do dishes, toilets, laundry. I even got out of piano lessons because I couldn't play the little pedal. It was almost worth getting shot for. But so my life changed. If you resist change, you will fail. If you accept change, you'll survive. If you actually create change, you will succeed. I'd go to the high school basketball games. My brother Scott, thank you. He's a year older than me. We'd played basketball since we were little. We were supposed to be the starting guards on the basketball team. He was out there playing in front of the whole student body. Where was I? Crying up in the wheelchair section. I knew I needed to find some new passions in life. I started running marathons. My first marathon, July 24th, 1981, halfway between Salt Lake City and Park City. 5 o'clock in the morning, me and 7 other dudes in wheelchairs. We take off. The first 13 miles are uphill. Somehow, some way, I'm going to get to the top of that hill. It's like executive coordinator. I'm going to get there. I got to get there in less than 90 days, but I'm going to get there. And so I'm pushing along, and I'm struggling. I'm starting to sweat, and I'm starting to get blisters. FUD is getting in my head. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But I focused. I kept pushing, and then they let all the ABs go. That's you, the able-bodied people, okay? So I'm pushing along. All the ABs are passing me on the uphill. This runner in a yellow shirt, he ran by, he smacked me on the shoulder. Good job, Mike. Don't quit. You're an inspiration. I kept pushing. I thought, thanks. Shut up. Wait till the downhill. Then there was the downhill. Picture this, 500 runners looking over their shoulders, seeing 8 guys in wheelchairs coming at them at 45 miles an hour. I even passed yellow shirt. What do you think I thought as I sped by? Good job, don't quit. You're an inspiration. I'll see you at the finish line. Got to the finish line, everybody was clapping, and that felt good. I had this thought. I thought, wait a minute. Everyone was clapping 3 hours ago when I took off. Now they're clapping at the end. What about the 26 miles in between? You know what I learned that day? All motivation is self-motivation. Love, money, fear can motivate us, but we have to get our rear ends out of bed in the morning, be thankful to be alive. I never appreciated my legs till I lost their use. I crossed the finish line of that race that day. I had my head up, my shoulders back. I thought, my dad is right. I can still be a great athlete. I'll just have to do it a little differently. Now, my Shackley friends, I'm no different than you. Life is full of ups and downs, isn't it? I mean, it's difficult. I salute you for getting up every day, doing the best you can with your pains and problems that are very real and unique to you, and yet alone trying to make a difference in this world. I'd been in a wheelchair for 2 years, had a new girlfriend. I was a junior in high school, arm wrestling my weightlifting coach. He's strong, I'm stubborn, we're doing our thing. He busted my right arm. Funny bone went all the way up into the palm of my hand. Wasn't funny. Back to the hospital. Same doctors and nurses, more surgery. A big blue cast from here to here. Now I had 4 limbs and only this one worked. I went in circles for 4 months. But something more important happened in the hospital that day. They flipped me over. sliced open my back, took that little .38 caliber piece of lead out of my T8 vertebrae. They handed it to me. I held it in the palm of my hand. I looked at it, and I just started shaking because this little piece of lead symbolized so much loss and heartache in my young life. But I will sit before you here this morning, and I will tell you, it's about the time in my life I let it go. I let it go. I forgave my friend. I got the lead out. Thanks. Thank you. It was a turning point for me. We all have them. I've been sitting on my butt for 31 years, so you won't sit on yours. My friend, he never really did forgive himself. We cared about each other. We were friends. We were neighbors. We'd hang out. We'd go to the mall. People would come up, Mike, what happened to you? He shot me. It was kind of awkward. Well, my friend, he never really did forgive himself. He got involved in drugs, alcohol, tried to rob a bank with a loaded gun, spent 25 years in federal prison, many of them in Fort Leavenworth. I had this prayer in my head and in my heart all these years to reconnect with my friend Tori. Well, a year ago, I was at a restaurant in Salt Lake City. My cell phone rang. I knew that voice. It was Tori. He was 5 miles away. He'd been out of prison for 5 years. He came to that restaurant. He walked in there that day. We went to shake hands. He knelt down. We embraced. It was like a bridge had been built over those 30 years. I'm proud of my friend Tori. He has himself positioned properly in life. That's what it's all about. Well, I got that blue cast off my arm. I found myself on one hot Friday, August afternoon, hanging on to an improvised boogie board behind the family boat. Dad was driving, going about 30 knots. Water was hitting me in the face, going up my nose. My legs are flapping around behind me. And I'm thinking, this isn't very much fun. Why'd my friend shoot me? I'm having a bad day. Everybody's staring at me. And I mean, I'm used, look, you're all staring at me. Doesn't even bother me. I feel like wearing a t-shirt. I got shot. What's your problem? But that day on the lake, there was a problem, and it was real. I looked over my shoulder, and yep, my little skinny atrophied legs are flapping in the breeze behind me. There's also a worse problem. The water that came under that yellow boogie board had ripped off my sporty green swimming trunks. Gone. You think having a bad hair day is bad, you ought to try having a bad butt day. That's a worse. I quickly fall off. I'm bobbing up and down in the life jacket. I knew the boat would circle around and come back and get me. Here were my thoughts many years ago. It's not my fault. I'm up to here in freezing cold water. It's not my fault I lost my swimming trunks. It's not even my fault I got shot. Do fault and blame really have anything to do with anything? Well, unless you're married. But we don't need fault. We don't need blame. I learned the 3 most important words in life that day. As that boat came full circle, my thoughts came full circle. And here's those 3 words. Take personal responsibility. Or is that 4 words? Take personal responsibility. We can't always help exactly what happens to us in life, but we always have, by far, the most important choice. How will we respond? How will we react? When we respond and react properly, we empower ourselves to succeed or fail on our terms. Very, very, very important concept. One Friday night, I was sitting at home, wasn't taking responsibility for my life. A school dance was going on. I was sitting on the green couch feeling sorry for myself, wishing things were how they used to be. But I mustered up the courage to transfer into my wheelchair. I want to quickly demonstrate a transfer here this evening. I had to learn to do this in the hospital, a very basic thing. But I knew if I couldn't transfer out of this wheelchair, I couldn't get in a car. And if I couldn't get in my car, then I couldn't get to places like this school dance I was on my way to. And if I couldn't get to dances, I couldn't get girls. And if I couldn't get girls, I might as well pull the plug. But anyway, so basically, you just put your left foot in, you put your right foot in, and you transfer. No big deal. But you know what? When 2/3 of your body's paralyzed, you have to go back to the basics. You have to start over. I have a little secret for everybody here this morning. If you want to be a good friend or spouse or distributor or coordinator, or if you just want to be a good person, help other people feel comfortable in your world. But if you want to be a great friend or spouse or person, get into their world. And that Friday night, I was going to go back to the world I knew before. I was going to muster up that courage and go to the school dance. So I got in that car, I drove to the school, I parked in the handicapped parking stall, some advantages. I snuck in a back door. The lights were low, the dance was going on, you know, the wooden floor, the baskets. And I popped a wheelie, and I leaned up against a red brick wall. So there I am, and a few friends came over and said hi to me, and they're back to chasing girls. And I was just left there to think about my life. And a girl named Wendy started walking towards me. I thought, don't even think about it. This wasn't good. She kept coming my direction, so I got out of a wheelie, turned to the side, kind of started, talking to the top of my shoes. And I could still see her legs getting closer and closer, and that was not that bad. But she got about 10 feet away. I looked up. Our eyes made contact. She said, Mike, I want to dance. I thought, go for it. I'd be happy to watch you. Go dance. I knew she wanted to dance with me. I said, okay. I'm pushing out on the dance floor. The whole world's staring at me. I'm thinking, this isn't very much fun. Why'd my friend shoot me? I'm having a bad day. And I got out there and I just started dancing with an attitude. Couldn't wait for the song to end. Popped a wheelie, turned a circle. The song finally ended. I tried to shake Wendy's hand and go back to my safe corner where I felt comfortable. Wendy said 6 words I will never forget. Mike, I want one more dance. What kind of music do you think started coming through the speakers? Slow music. I didn't know what to do. Wendy didn't know what to do. She was nervous. I was sweating bullets, no pun intended, but it was awkward. Eventually, Wendy came over and knelt down on the ground right next to me. I started patting her on the head to the beat of the music. Wendy, this isn't working very well. I'm messing up your hair. I have an idea. Why don't you just sit on my lap? Wendy stood up, plopped down sideways on my lap, wrapped her arms around my shoulders. I quickly became the envy of every one of my friends. The song ended. Wendy went to her corner. I went to mine. Now I had a smile on my face, a smile on my heart. I was thankful I showed up. By the way, thank you for showing up here at this wonderful convention in St. Louis. I hope you benefit from it when you walk out these doors. I hope you'll think or act or feel a little bit different than when you showed up. But Wendy made a huge difference in my life that night. She could have danced with Roger or Phil or Lance. But I'm thankful she took a chance to dance with me. The world is made of givers and takers. The takers eat well, the givers sleep well. I hope every one of you sleep well tonight because I know you're givers. I know what you do, and let me say thank you. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. C-beated, C-beated. Well, I told you about a goal I set when I was 16 years old to represent you in the Olympic Games. I got my chance. 1988, the Summer Games. We're in Seoul, South Korea. I tried out against 100 of the best wheelchair basketball players in our incredible country. I made the team. I was the youngest on the team. 12 great athletes, paraplegic, quadriplegics, blind, amazing athletes on their way to the Paralympics. Athletes like Reggie Colton, my teammate who lost both legs on a train track in Gainesville, Florida. We're over in San Francisco. We're loading our airplanes to fly over to the Olympic Games. We're the first ones on the plane. They tell us to remain seated. Reggie, like a spider monkey, climbs up in the overhead luggage bin. Coach shuts him in there. We start reading the newspaper. It's now a tradition. ABs like you start coming on the airplane. What's the first thing you're looking to do when you get on the airplane? Put your bag somewhere. Well, somebody opens that overhead bin and you think paraplegics have bladder problems. So we fly over the ocean. The United States of America beat Holland by 10 points. They raised the flag and played the national anthem and put the gold medals around our necks. But I had a tear in my eye because I remember 10 years earlier laying in a hospital bed wondering if I would ever play basketball again. And all of a sudden I've got this shiny gold medal, and it's a good feeling to know you're the best in the world. It's something even for a small moment. Thank you. It means a lot to me. My mom liked it so much she was going to bronze it. Come with me to 1992, my second games, Barcelona. My personal motto as I trained was no Spain. I mean, blew that joke. No pain. No Spain. Again, we beat Holland. The flag was raised, the national anthem. They put the gold medals around our necks. 2 games, 2 gold medals. You don't find out who you are when the sun is shining. You find out about yourself when there's some adversity. Where is that gold medal here today? I don't have it. I lost it. One of my teammates tested positive for drugs. I had to give it back. Don't feel bad for me. Just know this. Everything you do here on this team at Shackley affects everybody else on the team. Come with me to my 3rd games. You know where the games were in '96, in our country, Atlanta, Georgia. Our families, our food. The best wheelchair basketball team ever put together. We're supposed to win. We'd never lost. We got to the semifinals, and we got beat by Australia. We didn't know how to handle adversity. Everybody's retreating to the locker room. Coach was mad. Coach was yelling. Coach was chucking wheelchairs. Some of us were still in those wheelchairs. We got knocked down, had a bad day. We got up. We beat Spain the next night by 9 points to win a bronze medal. I didn't like it. I went back to Utah. I put it in my sock drawer. There it sat for 4 years as a motivator for me to try to reach my goal, to try to make one more team. The year 2000 rolled around. The summer games were in the beautiful country of Australia, in Sydney. I made the team. I'd reached my goal. Now I was the oldest on the team. Well, we get back to the semifinals. We're playing the great country of Canada. I know we have some Canadians in here. And we got beat again. Everybody's retreating to the locker room. I'd grown up in those 4 years. I'd changed. I'd improved. I sat in the middle of that basketball court for probably 5 minutes. I looked at the flags and some of my family and the other athletes, and I reflected what a privilege it had been to represent you and 350 million Americans over the course of almost 20 years in what I believe is the greatest sporting event in the world. And yeah, we had a bad day, we got knocked down, but we repositioned ourselves. And we got up the next night and we beat Great Britain on a 30-foot shot at the buzzer to win the bronze. We didn't lose the gold, we won the bronze. And I didn't go home and put it in my sock drawer. I brought it with me here this morning. I'm proud of it. I like it. My mom doesn't have to bronze it. Third place in a world of 7 billion people isn't that bad. Michael Phelps doesn't have any of these, so there's good in everything. So, I've been fortunate to win 2 gold medals and 2 bronze medals. I don't have any silver medals. Those guys lose their last game. But these are symbols of excellence. I earned them with coaches and teammates and family and friends. They mean a lot to me. I have one other item that I want to put around my neck this morning, and I want to let it take an equal place in my life with these medals. This other little item I earned in a different way, a lot of doubt and fear and heartache and tear. It closed a lot of doors, it opened a few others. Right here on the end of this streamer, you probably have an idea what this is. It's about the size of the tip of your little finger. This is my bullet. Today isn't about me. I have a little favor to ask of you. Tonight, when you lay your head on your pillow and you know you're an incredible person, I want you to go deep inside. I want you to find your bullet. I promise you it'll make you a better person. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong. Find your bullet. Be willing to put it around your neck, embrace it. Begin that journey to new and fulfilling and more productive life. Again, I salute everybody in here. We have death. We have divorces. We have disabilities. We have disease. We have depression. We have doubt. We have the in-laws, Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we have all these things. But we have to get up every day and keep moving forward. Well, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a visual journey, show you some fun photos. Success is overcoming that person inside of you that wants to quit. These are all attitude therapy sayings. A different marathon. Wrecked at mile 20, finished the last 6 miles on a flat right tire. I still have my swimming trunks on. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. A big tower, high as the ceiling. They tied a whole bunch of ropes to my wheelchair, and I said, can we tie some to me too? I'm still 50 feet in the air trying to smile. 2 feet from falling off that board. I thought, what the heck, I'm already in a wheelchair. I'll just keep on going. This guy had courage. He went parachuting, missing his legs from the knees up. Or not the knees up, the knees down. You can't be missing your legs from the knees up, or you got problems. Big problems. Don't try this at home. My friend in Las Vegas, Nevada. Southern Utah. Snowmobiling. My son and my friend Rodney. 4 years ago on this very mountain, my left leg went under the snowmobile, broke my ankle in 16 places. Back to the hospital, more surgery, big blue cash from, my ankle to my hip. Hauled it around for 4 months. Still walking with a little bit of a limp, but I'm doing much better. Scuba diving's fun. It's not good for the wheelchair. Only if we're willing to lose sight of the shore can we discover new horizons. My dad, my brother Tyler threw me on his back. This is in San Diego, down by the ocean. They dug a hole. Yeah. I was almost all in. A half an hour later, I said, get me out of here. What did Tyler do? Started throwing chips and bread all around my head. All the birds showed up. El Capitan, 3,000-foot granite cliff in Northern California. The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. My friend, my teammate, Trooper Johnson, wanted to climb this since he was a little boy. When he was 17 years old, he broke his back in a car wreck. Do you think his dreams were denied? No, they were delayed. A few years ago, Trooper climbed the mountain, packed his gear, slept on that red thing 4 different nights. CNN took pictures from a helicopter. He got to the top with the help of a guide, and he walked 2.5 miles back to the bottom on his hands. The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. This is my amazing wife, Tammy. She is here with us here today. My sister Colette, who Rich told you about, introduced us. I don't even know where you are out here, Tammy, but I want you to know I love you. Thank you. Sometimes she gets mad at me and hangs me up in the backyard. So I do my yard work, and I jump on the riding lawnmower and use my right leg to push the gas, and sometimes the thing runs out of gas, and nobody's around, no cell phone, and I have to crawl back to my wheelchair. Life can be intense. If there's a will, opening ceremonies, Winter Olympics, Salt Lake City, 2002. I was able to carry the placard for Monaco. Little video clip.
Monaco.
Monaco.
Back when George was smiling. I was able to meet Sting and the Dixie Chicks. It's okay, we're learning about forgiveness today. We can let it go. And a little bit of Utah there, Marie Osmond under my right arm, and for you ladies, a lot of rock and roll, Bon Jovi. And these are my favorite people in the world. My wife, Tammy, and Matt is straight above my head, and Megan's on top in the middle in the blonde hair. Joseph is above my wife, Tammy. Mackenzie's on my right shoulder there, and that's our little supermodel, Anna, who won't take out the garbage cans right in between us. And you know what? After all, isn't this why we all do what we do? Yeah. We have fun. Trooper has a hat on. He climbed El Capitan. The other athlete there is Reggie, my friend that I told you about that lost his legs in Florida on the train track. Here's Reggie on the airplane. I know some of you are flying home in the next day or two. Watch out for Reggie. I was fortunate to carry the Olympic flame in St. George, Utah. You carry it for 2 blocks, and you're thinking, don't drop it, they'll cancel the Olympics. It weighs 3 pounds, and you got a big smile on your face, and the kids are going nuts, and you know you're going to hand it to somebody else. I wished I could have handed it to my mom. My mom nominated me. My mom has MS. Everybody in this room has a torch to carry. Grab your torch. Hang on tight. Carry it for you, your family, your future. Carry your torch. Playing Canada in the World Championships. The wheels slant out. It protects your fingers. It also helps you turn quicker. That's my coach above my head yelling, "Don't shoot." We won the gold. They brought the baskets down because we're not very good at climbing up the ladders. They raised the American flag, played the national anthem, put the gold medals around our necks. 20 minutes later was the drug test. Had to give it back. The world's largest basketball hoop up the road in Peoria, Illinois. Can you find me in that photo? It's like, where's Waldo? I'm sitting in the basket, my legs are hanging through. Basketball's been bigger than life to me. These are some of my disabled friends at the White House, Trooper and Mark. This is my other disabled friend that used to be at the White House. Any ideas who this might be? Tory. Good-looking guy, isn't he? Tattoos from the bottom of his neck to the top of his ankles. I'm proud of Tory. He's taught us about position in life. Sydney, Australia, my fourth and final games, 110,000 people in that beautiful stadium. And then they let the games begin. The amputees, the world record in the 100 meters is 11 seconds. This is not Reggie, he's a shot putter. Pain and suffering are inevitable. Misery is optional. This athlete, big shoulders, a big heart, no legs. 17,000 of us cheered for him as he tried to win a gold, silver, or bronze medal for his country. I like elevators, but I like escalators better. I back on, I hang on. You know what I've noticed? There's nobody ever behind me. I just scatter and disappear. This is after we hit the 30-footer to win the bronze. Who do you think's upside down on the bottom? I have a little video clip here for you. Tie game, 15 seconds to go. Great Britain has the ball. They call a timeout. We play terrible defense. They miss a layup. Here's how we win our bronze medal in Sydney.
Bunn trapped up top, down low. Dan Johnson springs free. The shot, no good. Rebound Waller. We're trying to get a timeout. Barber runs it up to Schulte. 2 seconds remain. Schulte for the win. He got it!
The Canadians went on to win the gold medal. This is the best player in the world. He climbed up on the basket, cut the net off, cut his legs off. He was holding up the flag, giving us Americans a hard time. I had to tell him he couldn't even put his shoe on the right way. But the Paralympic Games are awesome. Thank you today for letting me take you on a little bit of my life journey. When my grandma Schlappi brought me that cherry Slurpee, she taught me to laugh again. My dad taught me I could still be a great athlete. Wendy and my wife taught me that it's love and caring and compassion that really matter. Tori taught me we need to forgive ourselves, reposition, and move on. But the greatest lesson I learned in life, I learned from my amazing mother in that kitchen when she said, "Mike, just because you can't stand up doesn't mean you can't stand out." And my friends here today, I want to finish my remarks. I want to speak to you just briefly as if I were our flag. I love our flag. I've been able to represent it all over the world. I've been to battle for our flag in a little bit of a different way. Our flag's been places that many of us can only imagine. I hope the rest of your life, when you see a flag, it'll be a reminder, a representation, if you will, in the value that there is in taking a stand for something worthwhile. And if you're from Japan or Mexico or Canada, I hope you feel exactly the same way about your flag. What would our flag say today if it could speak to us? I am your flag. I was born on June 14th, 1777. I am more than just cloth shaped into a design. I am the refuge of the world's oppressed people. I am the silent sentinel of freedom. I am the emblem of the greatest sovereign nation on earth. And I am the inspiration for which American patriots give their lives and fortunes. I have led your sons into battle, from Valley Forge to the steaming, treacherous jungles of Vietnam, into Afghanistan and Iraq. I've walked in silence with each of your honored dead to their final resting place beneath silent white crosses, row upon row. I have flown through war and peace, strife and prosperity, and amidst it all, I have been respected. My red stripes symbolize blood spilled in defense of our glorious nation. My white stripes signify burning tears shed by Americans who have lost their sons or daughters in battle. My blue field is indicative of God's heaven under which I fly. And my white stars clustered together unify 50 states as one for God and country. Old Glory is my nickname. Proudly, I wave on high. Honor me, respect me, defend me. With your lives and fortunes, never let my enemies tear me down from my lofty position, lest I never return. Keep alight the fires of patriotism. Strive earnestly for the spirit of democracy. Worship the eternal God and keep his commandments. And I shall always remain a bulwark of peace and freedom for all mankind. My friends here at Shackley, I lost the freedom to walk. But because of amazing people like you, I've never lost the freedom to dream. I have people say to me, Mike, if you could go back to that day, that Friday afternoon, that Veterans Day, would you change it? My first thought is, of course. But if you had seen what I'd seen, if you had been where I'd been, if you knew what I knew, most importantly, if you'd felt what I'd felt, I thank God for pain. Because only when you feel pain do you change. And only when you change do you grow. And only when you grow do we all begin to discover the beauty that lies within every one of us. I promised when I was laying on that white bedspread, I would help as many people in this world as I could. I'm actually here this morning for a reason. A simple little reminder in life, whether or not you can or you can't stand up, we all matter, we all can make a difference, and we can all stand out. Thank you very much for letting me share my story with you.
Yeah.